Welcome. Today I'll be showing you how to add in the regular base system or the decimal system that we have, which is the base 10, which is the decimal system. But before we do the actual addition, there are some things that we need to know, which is very vital. First of all, we need to know that here we have three numbers to add, right? I already written down one here. The numbers, they increase. They increase in value from the left to the right. Therefore, this has the least value and this has the greater value. Okay, these lines represent columns. So this is the ones, this is the 10 column, this is the 100, this is the 1000. Now up here you see I have some numbers, tens, written in indices format, 10 to the 0, 10 to the 1, 10 square, 10 to the 2, 10 cube, or 10 to the third, 10 to the fourth, and so forth. This is important for you to work out the value, if asked, the value of these numbers. And what this means also is that in base 10, the highest number that you'll get when you're adding in each column is going to be 1 less the base. 1 less the base. So the base is 10. So 9 is going to be the highest when you're adding in each one of these columns. That's why when you have 10 or more, you would bring down 1, or depends on the remainder, and bring over the amount of 10 you have. But as we go along, we'll teach you that. But that's something that you should know. Okay. So if you're going to find the value, I'm going to work out the value of these so you understand what I'm talking about. This is very important when you're going to convert from one base to another. You need to know these. There are some rules in indices that you just need to understand and to remember it so you can work out these things. Let us work out the value of 1 right here. So what this is saying, to find the value, you work out 10 to the 0 power multiplied by 1. So let us write that. Laws of indices are therefore standard, they cannot change. So what it says that any number that raised to the 0 power, or any number or letter that is raised to the 0 power, is 1. Right? Any number, therefore if 100 is raised to the 0 power, that is going to be 1. If 2 million is raised to the 0 power, that's going to be 1. So any number, see we have 100 raised to the 0 power, that is 1. See we have 1000 raised to the 0 power is 1. If we have 1,000,000 raised to the 0 power, it's going to be 1. That is a standard in indices that doesn't change. So 10 to the 0 power is going to be 1. 1 multiplied by 1 is going to be equal to 1. So anything that 1 multiplied by is that number. So 1 is multiplied by 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. So therefore the value of this figure here is 1. As it suggests, 1201. We're going to work out the value of the 0 here. 10 to the 1 multiplied by 0 is, let's work out this part. Any number that is raised to the 1 power is the number. So we have 10 to the 1 is 10. If we have 100 to the 1, 100 to the 1 power, it's going to be 100. If we have 2 million to the 1 power, it's 2 million. If we have 300 billion to the 1 power, it's 300 billion. So whatever number is raised to the 1 power is 1. So 10 to the 1, whatever number is raised to the 1 power is that number. So 10 to the 1 is going to be 10 multiplied by 0. And any number multiplied by 0 is 0. So 10 times 0 is 0. So what this is saying up here is that this is the unit, this is the 10, this is the 100, and this is the 1000. So 10 to the cube means 10 times 10 times 10, 3 times. 10 to the second power, 10 square means 10 times 10, 2 times. That's what it means. And anything that raised to the 1 power is the number. So 10 to the 1 power is 10. Anything that raised to the 0 power is 1. So what this is saying right now, there's 0. As you get down here, 0. There's 0 tenths. So we're going to work out the value of the 2 here. So we have 10 square, which means 10 times 10. Multiply by 2 equal. So 10 times 10 is 100. 100 multiplied by 2. 100 multiplied by 2 is 200. So the value of the 2 here is 200. As in the figure, the number, it says 1201. Let's work out the figure of the value of the 1. Okay, so 10 cube, whatever number or letter is raised to the cube power, that means that number or letter times itself 3 times. So 10 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 1. So 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1,000. So 1,000 multiplied by 1 is equal to 1,000 multiplied by 1 is equal to 1,000. So the value of the 1 in this number here is 1,000, as it says, 1,201. There's no 10, 0, 10, and 1. Another important thing when adding is that you need to arrange the numbers that you're going to add together the right way. The numbers increase in value from the left. Therefore, what you need to do, you need to write down the first number. And I've already written it down here just to show you. Then the second number that you're going to write, you're going to start from the letter, the figure that is at the right, because that is the least in value. You're going to put it on the figure that is at the right, at the first number that you have written down. So you want to put the least value figures under each other. So this is how it's done. So the 0 to the right, put it under the 1, and then you filter out everything else to the left. So the 1 goes under the 0 goes under there, and the 2 goes under there. So the other number now, you start from the right, also the 2 goes under the least value number, and the 3 goes to the left of it, and then the 1 goes there. This is very important. You see, if you do not put the figures that are of the same value under the same column, you're going to increase or decrease the overall value of the number, and it's going to make it wrong. But for example, this is 132. So what if you decided to, okay, I'm going to start from the left, and I'm going to put the 1 under the 1 right here, and the 3 right here, and the 2 right here. What you have done is that you have increased the value of the 132 by 10. So now you will have 1,320, which that is not the original value. So this is something that is very important when you get numbers to add. They're normally going to come into this format. So you have to know how to arrange them so that you put the values of the figures under each other, so that when you add correctly. Because if you do not do that, you're gonna increase or decrease the value of the number. You're gonna make your sum, which is the total amount, wrong at the end. So now we reach the nice part of how do we actually add in base 10. First of all, before I do this, I'm gonna differentiate base 10 from the other numbers, because I know you have heard me talk about base 10. You might be confused right now. So base 10 is basically these numbers that you see. Any number that you see, just like that, any random number that you see, that is the number system that we operate in on a daily basis. So any random number, 55, 100, 250, 14, these are regular base 10 decimal number. Alright, now, so if you see some numbers with a little 2 or any other little number to the lower right hand corner, The number indicate the base that it's in. So this will be base 2, number in base 2, this in base 3, and this is numbers in base 8. But once you don't see any number to the lower right hand corner, it is base 10. Like that, 55. This is base 10. But if you see a little number right here, and that will be base 6. So once there's no little number, no number to the lower right hand corner, that is base 10. And base 10 is a regular number system that you're used to. But there are other base that you might use, just like the binary, which when you're doing computer, you need to know to add in this. You need to know to convert from one base to another. You need to know to convert to base 10. So after this, I'm going to do addition and subtraction in binary. It's very important for those who are going to do electrical or computer. So what we are going to do, addition. 1 plus 0 is 0 plus 2 is 3. Once you get a single digit, you put the single digit under the column that you're adding. Right? 0 plus 1 is 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 is a single digit, you put it under. 2 plus 1 is 3. Put it under. 1 plus 3 is 3. So when you add up 1,201 plus 2,010 plus 132, you get 3,343. Okay, so here we have some numbers to add. I write on the first number that we're going to add. So now we're going to write on the second number. Remember, we start from the right side because it's the least in value. Put it under the one at the right side of the one that you're written down. So 2 goes here. Then you're going to filter out going towards the left. Okay, you want to make sure that you put all the figures under their column. You don't want to increase or decrease the value of the numbers. So 1 goes right here, 7, 8, 6, and there you have. So 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 1 is 6. 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 7 is 14. So this is where it gets tricky now. Once you get a double digit, double digit number, double figure number, such as 14, with a 10 or greater, what you need to know now is that what you can do, the number that is to the right, I don't remember if I mentioned that when you're adding, that none of these columns must have 10 or more in it. So once you have more than 10 when you're adding each number, then what this is saying that the amount of 10 that you have under that column, you're going to bring it over to the other column, and the remainder you're going to put down. So since we have 14, after we have 4 plus 3 plus 7, we get 14. So what this is saying, how many 10s do you have in this and the remainder? So you can divide. There's 2 ways to do it. You can just know that, you can just look at it. For those who are seasoned in maths, they just look at it and say, okay, this number goes under here and the 1 goes over there. For those who are just doing maths now, you need to understand how this come about. So you're going to divide by 10 basically. Why we divide by 10? Because we're operating in base 10. If you were adding in base 2, you divide by 2. If you were adding in base 8, you divide by 8. So you divide by 10. What you're going to get is, whenever you're dividing by 10 or powers of 10, you just move decimal place, 1 place to the left. Now every number has a point. Every whole number has a point at the end. It's just not written down because there's no other decimal number at the end. But every number has a point. So to divide by powers of 10, you just move decimal place 1 place to the left. So the point is there, you would move it right there. Now your new number is going to be 1.4. What this is saying now is that you have 1, 10, and you have the remainder, which is 4. So right over here, the amount and the remainder. And the point is just to use as a separation. So the amount and the remainder. So you have 110. So you can get 110 from 14. That's what it's saying. And the remainder is 4. So the remainder is what you're going to put underneath the column that you're adding. So we have 4 remainder, so it's going to put right here underneath the column. And the amount of 10 that you get, which is 1, you're going to bring it over to the other column. Now when it goes over to the other column, you're going to add it as 1, not as 10. Because this column is greater than this one by 10. So when you add it as 1, it's automatically going to add as 10, because this column is greater than this one by 10. This column is greater than this one by 10, because you're adding in base 10. If you're adding in base 2, then this column will be greater than this one by 2, and this one will be greater than this one by 2, and this one will be greater than this one by 2. But because you're adding in base 10 now, this column is greater than this one by 10. So when you bring over any amount that you got here, it is going to automatically add as a 10 over here. So you bring over 1 over here, this one is going to be 1, but the value of it is going to be 110. Because this is 1, this is 10, and this is 100. So it takes 10 1 for you to get a 10. It takes 10 10 for you to get a 100, and it takes 10 100 for you to get 1,000. So this is the 10 value. So when you bring over this over here, this is going to be in the 100 value right now, but you're going to put it as 1, not as 10. So it is the amount of 10 that you got, which is 110. So you bring it over. Now you're going to add it as 1. So 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 8. That is 11. So you're going to do the same thing over here that you have done. So you get 11 because it's a double digit number. You got 11. You're going to divide it by 10. So how many 10s can you get from 11? 1. So the amount 110, and the remainder is 1. So remember, when you're dividing by 10, you just bring the decimal place 1 place to the left. So it's basically 1.1. So remember, the remainder is what you put underneath the column that you're adding. And the amount of 10 that you get, which is 1, you bring it over to that column. Remember, this is 1, so you're going to add it as 1, not as 10. So 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 6 is 10. As you can see, there's no other numbers to the left of this number. So what you can do is just write down the amount that you get. So when you had the last column, you get 10. You just write down everything as that. So when you had 2,043 plus 1,232 plus 6,871, your value is 10,146. We're going to do some more for practice. So now we have some big numbers to add. So I have to just write down the first number, and then you filter out the other numbers underneath it. 6 goes under the 6. Remember that this is very important, because you want to make sure that you place the digit under its correct value. Seven. Five goes right here. And you had. So we have 6 and 6 is 12. And 12 and 8 is 20. So we have 20 right there. Divide by 10. Remember to write your column as the amount and the remainder. So 10 divided by 20 give you, so you have 2.0. So 2.0. So what this is saying, that when you divide 20 by 10, you get 2 and 0 remainder. So this is the remainder you put underneath the column that you're adding, which is right here. And the amount of 10 that you get, you bring over to the other column, which is that. Remember that this is 2, not 20. So you're going to say 2 plus 7 is 9, plus 4 is 13, plus 7 is 20. So you get another 20. Cross this out because you don't want to get confused. So 20 divided by 10 again. Bring the decimal place over there, so you get the number that is the left of the point, that is the amount of 10 you have, and the number that is the figure that is to the right, of the point, that is the remainder. So you put it 2 and 0. So what this is saying, that you get two tens from 20 and no remainder. Same thing like this one. So you put the remainder, which is 0, under the column that you're adding, and the amount of 10 that you get, which is 2, you bring it over the other column. Remember now that this is 2 and not 20. So you're going to add it as a 2 and not as a 20. So 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 2 is 12, and plus 2 is 18. So you get 18 now. You can cross that out, okay, you don't want to confuse yourself. And then 18 divided by 10. Well, so let's ask you, how many tens can you get from 18? You can ask that, or you can just bring the decimal point, just like what we have been doing before. Let's just stick to a standard. So we have 1.8. The figure that is to the left of the point means the amount of 10 that you have, and the figure that is to the right means the remainder. So basically what it's saying, that when you divide 18 by 10, you get 1 10 and 8 remainder. So the remainder you're going to put underneath the column that you're adding, and the amount of 10 that you'll bring it over to the other column. You're going to add it as a 1, not as a 10. So it is 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 9 is 16, because 1 and 9 is 10, plus 6, 16, plus 5 is 21. Okay, so remember the last column, there's no more for you to bring over. So the amount that you get from the last column, you just put everything down. So we get 21 here, so we just do like that, 21, and that is our sum when we had all these things together. Now here's another one that we're going to do for practice. Yes, remember the 1 goes underneath the 1, 7, 9, 8. Anything that you don't understand, you just ask a question in the comment section, and we clarify it. Now, in order for you to be good at anything, you have to practice. Once you understand how it's done, then you practice until it becomes a part of you. So let us add now. So 9 plus 1, that's going to be 11. Divide by 10, because you're operating in base 10. So what you're trying to figure out is how many tens you have in the digits that you have just added together. Remember that once it's a single figure, you just put down a single figure underneath the column that you're adding. But once it's double figure, such as 10 or more, you just find out how many tens you get from that. Carry over the amount of 10 that you get to the other column, and the remainder you put underneath. So since we have 10, remember to write your column as the amount of 10 plus the remainder. So basically it's saying, yeah, you divide by 10 by moving the decimal place one place to the left, so you have 1.1. So 1.1. So the number that is to the left of the point represent the amount of 10. That's why we put it right here underneath the amount. And the number that is to the right of the decimal point represent the remainder. The remainder is what you put underneath the column that you're adding. And the amount of 10 that you get, you bring it over to the next column. And you're going to say 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 7 is 10, plus 8 is 18. So you have 18 divided by 10. Bring the decimal point right there. That. So we have 110. We bring it over to the other column. And the remainder is what we put underneath the column that we are adding. So now we have crossed these out, because you don't want to make any mistake. Yeah, cross these out. You can erase them if you want. So now we have 7 and 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. So we have 15 divided by 10. That's my place there. We have 110, remainder is 5. Put down the remainder, which is 5, and the column that you're adding. Bring over the amount of 10, which is 1. So now we have, remember this is the last column. So we have 6 and 6 is 12, plus 1, 13. So we just bring down the entire 13 there. And that's it. Any question, just shoot in the comment section. Practice. Whatever you want to become better at, you need to know how it is done, and then you practice until it becomes a part of you. So thanks for watching. Please like and share, and stay tuned for some more videos like this.